Well, hello everyone, and welcome in to another rockin' awesome Saturday night here on the Six Screens live streaming. We are glad you're with us. We got a lot of people already coming in. Thank you. Merry Christmas to all of you. We're gonna have a big audience tonight. Now, Barbara Anderson, her program is Watchtower Insider. Barbara Anderson tells all. Now, her guest tonight is Al Smith. Now, Al Smith, he was on 2 weeks ago. Al Smith is a musician, a famed musician, and boy, I'll tell you, he came so close to make it into the big time. But he is a really great artist, and he's on not tonight with Barbara. We're going to play some sound clips of his. We want you to listen in, but they're going to also be talking about education in the Watchtower. Now, Al was also involved with Bethel. He was a Bethelite. And, they frown on everything. They don't want you to get smart in any area, whether it's mathematics or whether it's music. So I'm sure he got a lot of static on that. And he's going to tell you tonight some of the problems he encountered while he was a Bethelite in Watchtower. Well, anyways, let's bring on Barbara and say hello to her. Hello, Barbara.
Hello, Rick.
So there you are. There you are. You're looking good tonight. You're looking good. Would you just come back from your dancing lessons or what?
Oh, I don't talk about it.
All right.
I have secrets, and so that's one of them.
Well, you look good. I'm going to bring you a guest, and we like this man now. I like the way he's dressed tonight. I like that. I like that jacket. I like the jacket. Oh, look at the jacket. That's a Stevie. That's a Stevie Wonder jacket. That's an Elton John jacket.
An Elton John jacket? I don't think so.
Oh my goodness. I love it. Hey, can I borrow it? Can I borrow it? When I go out,
I'll borrow it. Yeah, sure, anytime. But I think it's a little big on you, but okay.
We'll adjust it.
Well, just so your audience knows why I'm dressed like this, because I have to run out here and be on the stage at the New York Athletics Club right after this interview. So.
Wow. Well, I'll cut out. I'll let you guys go at it, but I'm here if you need me. Thank you very much, Al and Barbara.
All
right. Okay. Now, first thing we want. Hey, I got an echo. I can hear myself.
All right. Let me see if I can straighten that out, Barbara. Let me see that right now. Count to 5, Barbara. I'm going to mute my mic. Try
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Echo.
Okay, Barbara, turn your sound down. That's what it is. It's probably feeding back into your mic.
Okay. Huh. No, I can still hear.
You can still hear an echo. Okay, just give me a second. And let me just check a couple of things here to see why we're getting that echo. Let me check out. Okay, that's muted. We're on a number of platforms here. I just want to make sure that we have everything that's strange. We get an echo. All right, that's muted. And this one here is muted. Okay. You're still getting it. Is it bad, Barbara?
Well, let me talk. Yes, it's bad.
It's bad. All right. Let me just see. Let me just check your mic. I can do it here. Check your mic settings. Okay, echo cancellation. I have that on. Let me just turn your mic back. Well, reduce background. Boy, I don't know, Barbara, why that echo is on. Now, you don't have it. You don't have it.
Turn it on and off again. Even though it says echo cancellation, click it and then unclick it and click it again.
Who, me? Me?
No, it's me.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Echo cancellation. Okay. How about now, Barbara? You still hear the echo?
Let me see.
Now I hear Rick's echo.
All
right. All right.
Someone's mic is feeding back into the
All right.
source.
I'm gonna turn Barbara's mic down. Try that now, Barbara.
Okay. I can still hear myself, but it isn't as annoying as before.
All right. Well, you guys go ahead and talk, and I'll try to make some adjustments here. We're not getting an echo here, just on your end. Just on your end.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
Well, I can put up with it.
Yes.
Okay. you caused quite a bit of talk last time we talked here. People were discussing you and enjoyed very much that you have introduced yourself to this part of the world. I would like to say that I'm very happy that I have known you for many, many years, and you've always had the same impressions about the Watchtower. You've never changed your mind as long as I've known you, because you came to your conclusions many years ago before many people who were witnesses realized the same thing you did. And so tonight we're going to discuss, we agreed to discuss.
Excuse me, Barbara, we're going to come in here. What it is somehow you came on twice. I see what the problem is here.
Okay.
You somehow came on the program twice, so we got to see if we can mute the other one. See if there's any.
I'll get off this one. Okay.
Oh.
Got it.
Oh, all right. That should be better now.
I came on twice because I couldn't see Al. See,
I wasn't there.
I couldn't see Al. So when I hit it again, enter, all of a sudden Al popped up. But everything's fine now. Okay.
All right. We got it then. Yep. Thank you.
Okay. First thing we want to do is we want to have Rick play one of your short videos, and Al, and I think that everybody will enjoy it. They get to see you in like you're in the club, right? So we're going to be entertained by you for a few minutes. So,
well, actually, it's an interview. And you'll see Rodney Lopez. I'll explain who's who in those interviews. You'll see Sam McKee, who they are.
yes.
So kind of give the history of who I am and what I was doing
Okay.
while I was an elder.
While you were Watchtower conductor, right?
Yeah, we'll get to that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Rick, are you ready?
Yeah, which one now would that be? Because I got the three of them. I just want to make sure I got the right one. Is that Blacksmith, Let My People Go?
No, that's the third one.
All right. Is it Bassmaster Solo by Al Smith?
No.
That's the second one.
Is it New York Music Scene, Room 2?
That's it. That's it.
Let's play that one. All right, let's do it right now. Just give us some time here. That's just doing the titles.
What's up, man? I don't even know what to say. Sam McKee. I'm good, man. Robert William Morris agent. Bruce Springsteen, Stevie Wonder, Dave Vinaigrette, a lot of people.
Great. And the question everybody is dying to know is, where do we hear you guys? When's the album coming out?
The album? The album? Well, do you know we're not signed?
You're not signed. We're the best kept secret.
Hopefully they don't change it. They never come out to hear us. Like, oh yeah, but I said, we'll get there one day. So let's see what happens. The people like us, white, black, older, same thing is you gotta be 21 to get in here. We also have a young crowd too that likes us. The music is real.
Okay. Well, this is Al Smith, band leader for Bassist, and bassist and band leader for Blacksmith. Look out for Blacksmith; they'll be signed pretty soon.
How you feeling? We're Blacksmith. We're gonna do a few numbers for you. Hey there, Mr.
Oh, that was short. We just like we promised. Okay, Al.
Yeah.
Now that was Sam McKeith who managed you.
Right. As you met Stevie Wonder, he signs Bruce Springsteen. His book is coming out now. He's finishing it up. It's gonna be a bomb because everybody, when they find out who really was behind Bruce Springsteen and the stories, and he had the Jackson 5's account, a lot of people. So when I met him, he understood my my sensitivities as being a witness and what, my restrictions. So he worked along with me. So he was always, and he also mentored me. He was a brilliant man. Now, the other person that's interviewing me, Rodney Lopez.
Yes.
Well, Rodney, I pretty much helped raise in the organization. You can say he was like, many said he was my son. He was actually like my nephew. So I had him at a young age. And at the time of that interview, he was a pioneer. He was in school at NYU, which he graduated from. And so he kind of led the way. Now he's married, 2 children. His wife's a principal. He ended up being in the movie Mad Hot Ballroom. If you may have seen it, he's one of the instructors. He ended up managing, being the executive director for an organization that was called Dancing Classrooms. So all of this after people who left the Watchtower. One of the things he did, he got out of the organization as well, thankfully. But during that whole period of time while he was going to school, that was anathema for going to school, getting an advanced degree for some, while others it was okay. But for certain people from in that area, the Bronx, it was frowned upon. And matter of fact, they had a Watchtower on, and one Sunday I conducted it. The next Sunday, Dave Sinclair conducted it, and he and I had it out at the assembly. Yeah.
I see. Dave Sinclair is a prominent Bethelite. I want everybody to know.
Now, the other interesting thing is that after that concert, as you saw at the China Club, the next day, Rodney and I conducted the Watchtower. The guy next to me, the guitarist, that's James Sharp. He and his brother Michael Sharp and I were like the closest as can be. They were elders as well. Now Jimmy had stepped down during that time period, but his father in the Harlem area was well known. So all of us the next day from that concert that you saw the clip of, we're in the Kingdom Hall. I'm conducting the Watchtower. Rodney's probably going out in field service, pioneering, and the Sharp brothers are doing the same at their congregation.
Well, who would have thought? I sure would.
Yeah. Well, we're incognito. So during the hall,
would you give me a roundabout date? Year, like what? Are we talking 80s?
I'm terrible at that. Let's see,
70s, 80s.
That would have been no. It would have to be the 90s.
Is that right?
That'd have to be 93, 92, 93.
I'll say okay.
Yeah.
And all the 11 years that we were at Bethel was in the 80s and the early 90s. I never heard of anybody that spoke about entertainers who were also elders in the New York area.
Really?
Absolutely. I never heard.
Well, we all were, like I said, we all went underground incognito. Person that you saw that night is not the person you saw Sunday. Yeah. And I used to try to keep it separate. And then eventually it caught up, though. People started to realize that's who I was. Because remember, in the organization, everyone knows me as Jeff Smith.
Yes.
So even now, when you say Al Smith, people who know me as an entertainer, oh, yeah, Al Smith, what's the big problem? But people who know Jeff Smith is like, wait a minute.
Well, you can get away with something maybe with one of those personalities. I don't know. Anyway, why don't you call yourself Jeff Smith? I mean, why the Al? I'm just curious.
Because my name is Alan Jeffrey Smith.
Ah, that's the reason. Okay.
Professionally, you know, when I teach, because I had professor status, so we'll get to that one. My education brought me, and my expertise. I was Alan Smith. So in that life, I became Alan Smith. But around the King Hall, people who knew me, you know, were close. You know, like when you may have family members that call you by your middle name instead of the name that everyone calls you. So that kind of took when it came to the Watchtower, because the person when I studied, they knew me as Jeff, and so I got introduced as Jeff. So everyone knew me as Jeff, and so everyone referred to me as Jeff Smith.
Interesting. You know, I knew somebody would ask that question, so that's why I did. So apparently in the writing department, they were ignoring this because, as I said, nobody mentioned it. So in fact, Lloyd Berry had his, you talked to me about the issues, and but not about New York people who were entertainers. But this is fascinating, and for me it is, and I know that our listeners feel the same way.
Can I add one more thing about that?
Yeah, you got a lot of. First, let's say, got to tell the audience you have a lot of information to say, and we want to hear it all. So feel free to break in. I won't do a lot of talking, except in one place I'm going to talk about something. Okay, go ahead.
But it's interesting during that time period. It's interesting that you said that the organization didn't have much to say about elders playing, rock music and things like that. They didn't have much to say about because, like I said, we were incognito. This is even before Larry Graham and people like him, and even George Benson became known as Jehovah's Witnesses. Michael was just starting that. So a lot of professional musicians and entertainers were kind of low key back then. But when, of course, with the controversy with Michael, that all changed. Then I was studying when I was on the road. I was touring. We were on the tour. Larry wasn't even studying during that period of time when I was studying. So he came along later on, and then of course now the most common thing is with Prince and the Williams sisters. Now it's a common thing. So we kind of were under the radar back then, and we tried to keep it that way. Actually, that's why you didn't have any controversy. We kind of played both roles or did our part to make sure it didn't fan out.
I think too that the lack of conversation about it could have been purposeful, because the fact is that the ones that had the money, the ones that were really pulling in the money, who were entertainers, were big contributors. And so if the service department especially would condemn local people for being entertainers, then what could they say about Michael or Prince or people like that who are big contributors? And that's what kept the silence. Now, I had a friend in Bethel who was in the congregation with Michael, and that's what kept in California, and he knew quite a bit about the family and was quite involved with them. And he was the one that informed us about the huge amount of money that was donated by that family to, not the father, but the rest of the family, to the Watchtower. So I can see that now when I think about it, that why would they condemn you guys when they didn't say hardly a thing about the performances by people who are known around the world who are witnesses, right?
Well, that which also leads up, you connect something else that comes to mind. During the 80s, like the late 80s, I had a witness band for the most part. We, like I told you last episode, and we did a lot of weddings and things like that, which people would see me in that kind of light. And I was out front with band. I had two female singers and sisters. They were sisters, and the band had folks like Tom Eve and Peter Murray. You know, we had a great witness kind of wholesome band. So because of that, because of the excitement that was being generated, societies started their little articles. You know how they do. Someone goes to an event, seeing, let's say, the audience get exciting and maybe the girls screaming and, you know, swooning a little bit or something like that, and they get the idea. Let me write an article about that.
Mm-hmm.
And so we start to see little jabs coming out in the articles. As I said before, that's when I start to push back, is when they started saying things like, we should be listening to classical music because that's the beautiful music. And I would fire back with statements like, well, you mean those cokeheads? Because a lot of those composers were cokeheads and very vile individuals. You mean with those people?
Mm-hmm. You know, from what I little I know about this field, you were presenting to the industry rock and inspiration blues, right?
Right. That's what we coined it. It
That's
later
what you
became
coined it.
country rock inspiration blues.
Okay, but the record labels of the time that was so popular, it was more. They were into sex and
Sex.
yeah, illicit
What?
and debasing sex, and you
That-
guys weren't.
What? Well, if it was just sex, it wouldn't be as bad because they always said sex, drugs, and rock and roll, right? But it turns out we were promoting my brand of music, like you saw RIB, rock inspiration blues. The inspiration, we were producing positive messages. Now, at that time, rap was taking it was coming out of the hardcore stuff. And in the beginning, rap was about what people seen in the areas. It was a truthful art. But then it became to be about B's and H's. You fill in the blank. They started promoting, they started signing the most debasing artists they can find. And we were wondering, what was that about? I was in the boardroom with BM Bertelsmann's music with their chief executives, and I was showing them a map and proving my point that there's an audience out there. Not everybody wants that. And of course, being a Jehovah's Witness, I knew how that culture felt. Not just witnesses, other people, which the country music market took advantage of, right? They told me, said, Al, you're absolutely right, but it's to turn the ship around, it will never happen in time. So that's why they were promoting gangster rap. The rock folks were doing the grunge scene, heavy drugs. They were doing this on purpose. Now later on, I come to find out when people ask us, Al, do you feel bad that you ducked out of the music industry? Yeah, like I said last time, it was actually a protection for me, because when you see how nefarious they are now, what the real agenda was at that time, oh my goodness, I'm amazed I'm still alive. You know.
Well, you were basically a very moral individual anyway.
Yeah, I had my wild side, but within, I mean, it was nothing. I grew up with in a home with values, so
yes.
Even when I strayed, my straying wasn't. I knew where the line was. Other people that were out there were looking for the line and never made it back.
Yeah, these are important issues. So the people like me, we don't know anything about it, how it worked back in those
years. You were a good girl? So you're a good girl.
Yeah, but the kind of music, the real heavy rock, I was never into, and Joe wasn't either. But that's personal choice. I'm not against it, and I never was exposed much to it either. I might like it if I had been. So
you were the good girl that we'd find would corrupt.
Ah, no way. Ethics and morals. Yeah, the different strokes for different folks. And you guys were walking a fine line there, though, because you knew how your religion felt about it. You made a comment to me that really struck home. I was telling Joe about it at lunchtime. And I said, well, I never thought about this, but so many of the very popular singers of that time, you mentioned one gal, and you said that they all had this problem with their religion condemning what they do.
Right.
Yeah, so this
Well,
is just Jehovah's Witnesses. I thought that was, tell us a little about that.
well, if you read the history, certainly a lot of the popular R&B artists, they like Aretha Franklin, for instance.
Yes.
Like Sam Cooke. There was a big controversy when Sam Cooke decided to stop singing gospel to sing. They call it rock and roll, which is really R&B. I mean, the Lou Rawls, they had this whole conscience thing upon them. While you're leaving the spiritual singing, you're leaving the church, you're going to sing the devil's music. So that was built into a lot of entertainers went through that. Now take that and being a Jehovah's Witness, which is more fundamental than a lot, because the rules of being a Jehovah's Witness, the moral rules are higher standard. So that standard we were being held to is even higher.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, a matter of fact, and so now that you mentioned, there's a lot of people I kind of find out. Matter of fact, people have contacted me and said, I didn't know you were a witness, Alan. I was too. And then I met other people along the way. Before I started my own band, I was with a group. We were on Mercury Records called the Joneses. You can look them up. On Soul Train, they were predicted to be one of the top singing groups. It was a group of brothers and a cousin. They incredible. So I was 15 and 16 when I was with them. And so I traveled extensively with them doing that as a teenager. Of course, everyone thought I was older, and then I ran up other people. Like, for instance, I had a group which would be considered funk rock, and it turns out I'm talking my keyboard player. We're talking, and we're kicking it, talking musician talk, the way we talk, the way we speak, and it turns out his mother was a witness. And he's like, what? Then he found out he grew up in the witness family. His name is Neil Brooks. As a matter of fact, Neil might be listening now. And so we grew up, and so here we are navigating this world with these kinds of morals. It was very difficult, but we did it to a greater extent. But even though, well, I like to say to people, when you leave the Watchtower, if you are a principled person, you're still that principled person. Yeah. So people think if you leave the Watchtower, all of a sudden your life is going to be terrible. Things are going to happen. You're going to fall into a ditch. You left Jehovah. If you do a survey, you find that the people that left the organization are doing much better. But some of them, and I like to speak to them about that. If they're listening, if they're not, get this to somebody is that we seem to carry this loyalty, thus guilt, with speaking out against Watchtower. As a matter of fact, I used to say the same thing. Well, they do good things for people, this, that, and the third. Some people need guidance. I'm not going to take that away.
That's right.
But what this control organization, as we'll talk about how the issue of education, and Barbara, you can speak of many different branches of that, but how it stifles people. It controls them. It doesn't allow people to actualize who they are. They don't mature. And so but we'll get into why that is, Barbara. Like I said, the real reason why discourage religion.
The lack of higher
education.
The lack of higher education.
What was that? What was that?
Not allowing people to pursue higher educations is really a way to stifle people, is what you're saying.
Yes, which I'm going into. I'm gonna softly waltz into what's really happening, because I did since after I left the Watchtowers, I got an education that's incredible with some of the greatest scholars. You know, some I sought out myself, and Barbara Anderson being one of them. By the way, if you want a scholar to teach you about the Watchtower organization, she is the one. So
Yeah.
Well,
Well, they made me do it. You know, they made me do it. They made me. I don't know why, but yeah, well, maybe I do. It was a lack of choices at Bethel, and most of the women there were never had a job. They came into Bethel with a mate and didn't work, just went out in service. I had a lot of experience before I came to Bethel in the business world and so forth. I also had a nosy nose about history. And so all of that came together, and that's the reason I'm sure. If the choices were greater and there were plenty of people at Bethel who had higher education, I doubt if they would have chosen me, because I did not have higher education. I went to college after I left the organization.
That's my point. So sticking with that point, how people did better afterwards. Now I like to talk about why the society was so discouraging about people going to college. Now, Barbara, you and I talked about this.
Yes, and I'm going to show everybody. Hold on. I'm going to show everybody. When I went to college, it was required. This was required right here.
There you go. There you go. Can I say it? I don't know if they all can see it.
It's a guide, Beyond Feelings, a guide to critical thinking. It was what a class that was. I thought I could really critically think before I was introduced to this in the class. A Board of Regents required, I think the year before I went to college, that every college student had to have this class. And some of the people in the class were older people like I was. And there were some people that looked like they were farmers that came in overalls. And you know, one of the best things I ever did was keep my mouth shut in that class, because I would have showed how ignorant I really was. And I thought I knew it all, that my view of the world and everything was so important and truthful. But when I listened to some of what the answers that some of the people who were there who looked like farmers, and
They probably were. They could have been farmers, but educated
and thinkers. See, we weren't permitted to think outside of the box.
That's right.
Yeah.
Which if I may segue now into that, it's because of they didn't want people to learn critical thinking. Mm-hmm. You cannot have a cult. I repeat, you cannot have a cult leading critical thinkers. So what is critical thinking? Basically, is to look at both sides of an issue. That's the short answer for it. And so once you start doing it, you'll start asking simple, as one of my mentors said, always ask tough, dumb questions. You know, like I was the guy in calculus that they will throw out because I'll ask why. So they don't want you asking why. So the question you will ask, like, for instance, and share this with other people you may know, who is leading you? Who are you really following? Get to know who they are. That's why today I say things like the 12 schmucks of Brooklyn.
Which now has become a common expression since you started that, you know.
But you know why I do that? Because it was, if you said that, that's a disparaging offense.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
How dare you say something about these men? Mm-hmm. And that's what they were, by the way, men.
Of course.
With very little education, with a bunch of opinions, And if you got to know them individually, they're very questionable. Some have even admitted it themselves. But yet we were following something that we knew nothing about. We didn't ask. The terms became, and this is all these cult religions do the same thing. So I'm not just picking on the Watchtower. They would do things like, society says, oh, okay, society says, or they'll sometimes say things like, well, the scriptures say, not quoting anything, but they use the same thing as society says, this, that, or the other. And that's supposed to end and silence your argument or your question.
You heard that a lot as an elder in elders' meetings, didn't you? When
Absolutely. Society says, the question that one should ask is, who the hell is society? And if society has an idea, maybe my idea is better. Now you're being guilty of independent thinking. See how cults work? You're not allowed. Let me say it differently. Let's look at it from the management standpoint.
Yes, that's what I was going to ask you to do.
Their problem is they can't have people being individual thinkers if you're trying to lead them. And lead them with what? They're blind with their flashlight keeps going out as they go, and they got to keep people going. So you can't have people questioning their reasoning, and they will shut you down with certain phrases. And this is those who study psychology will know things like, well, society says, and that's supposed to end the argument. Well, if society says this and that, let's examine who are the people who are a society. Or one of the things we'll say, well, Al, Jeff Smith, Brother Smith, whatever you want, they refer to me. I hear you talking, but if you were so smart, how come you were a Jehovah's Witness and climbed the ranks for those years?
Yes.
Right? If I'm supposed to be so smart.
That's right.
Well, I'll tell you why. What happened to me is that I did a lot of research. I'm a researching person, so I did a lot of research. But you know what the problem was? Where I did my research? In the society's library.
That's right.
In the society's publications.
Yes.
And the society would quote something like the reasoning book. They would quote something, and they'll put their interpretation or put it in context to fit their argument. So you think you've done it all. I was so sure that I had the quote unquote truth that you could not convince me differently, because I knew I had the truth. But then when I started doing other research, I realized, wait a minute, this stuff is biased. I'm gonna get to the real thing about the lion later on. Well, I'll say that after this. But what started happening is that when you question things or you do your own research, you get to find out things. The other thing that you learn when you're going for higher education and in critical thinking is debate. Intelligent people can have a conversation, and at the end, if you don't agree, you can say, okay, we agree to disagree, and walk away peacefully. They can't have that. See, they stop you. Here it is. Here's the hypocrisy. Now, this is an organization, and I'm guilty of this too, that we went door to door. By the way, that's why Jehovah's Witnesses are so good with culture. We go looking for people. We're in their house. We're knocking on the doors. If anybody can understand people, it's Jehovah's Witnesses. So when it comes to social understanding, we're great at that. Because we're knocking on the drug dealer's door, and he's hiding his drugs, his guns, and everything. Hey, the witnesses here, show some respect. They walk. We'll walk, right, Barbara? We're walking into homes of murderers. We don't know, but for some reason they have a reverence for what we stand for. So here it is. We feel we have the truth. We have something to offer the people, and some people, figuratively and some even literally, will stick their foot in the door so you don't close it, because you got to hear what I have to say. Because I have the truth.
Yeah, well, they don't do that anymore. So they learned their lesson because it didn't work. That's the point.
But the point is, the point I'm going to make here is that You're dealing with an organization that it's one-sided. So if someone
Yes.
has something else to offer you to debate, discuss, Jehovah's Witnesses and other cult organizations are taught not to listen. They can't hear it. Up to this day, people I love the friend. I have nothing. Some really sincerely believe this crap that the 12 schmucks keep modifying, talk under the guise that the light gets brighter. What an excuse! The light gets bright. No, you were wrong. So what today when I try to help people, they literally will not talk to me. I'm not disfellowship. They won't talk to me because they don't want to hear what I have to say, because they know I'm not a credulous person that will make them think, and they're going to have to make choices. So that's what a cult does. So here's the hypocrisy. We're those who are still Jehovah's Witnesses, those who are listening and have family members that are still witnesses, feel free to offer what they believe, but somehow cannot listen to anything outside of what they already believe. That's a recipe for disaster.
Yes, it is. And we see that's why the organization is a revolving door. People find that out and then they can't take it, they leave. It's obvious that the world we're living in is in a midst of tremendous changes also with religion. And so we're seeing that within this religion and the other religions too. So the thing about I think these days that you lived in and parts that you're discussing now are so interesting to us all, because so many of listeners who have left the organization were alive at that time and didn't know this was going on. And then you have all the young people that are leaving, and it's interesting to them, or we're making it interesting to them that they should know what it was like for us 30 years ago.
You know, I'm having a problem with this because you're saying like it was. The same thing is happening today. For
But they
instance,
don't even go out and, the door work is fallen off. This Bible says they're falling off. That's what I'm referring
but
to.
Barb, I like the young man you saw, Rodney Lopez, in the video, the first video. Well, that's the only video we've seen so far. Rodney, it turns out he has a mother that was they pretty much gave Rodney, both the mother and father, to me. They were going through some marital problems, but the one thing they wanted to do is to make sure their son was successful. So they literally threw him in my hands. He lived with me for a period of time. So the parents, I know the parents very well. His parents, they split up and they're living separate lives and remarried. His mother turned out to be a witness. After that, now she put a young son. Rodney was baptized at a preteen. So you had Isaac on your program. Isaac talked about what happens when a young man gets baptized at a young age. So they're being baptized into this organization with all these restrictions before they even know what they're about. But Rodney's mother she barely talks to him. He has 2 children she doesn't see because of this religion. This is happening today.
Yes.
So because of sticking with what the society says, then society told them you shouldn't listen to people outside of it. They remember the time they said that we lost our mind, we're crazy. We have mental illness. That's why we left the truth. Like I always say, what do you call the truth when everything they predict? I mean everything. They have, folks, in case you don't know, they have 0% accuracy. Not 60-40, not 70-30. They have 0% accuracy of everything they foretold. Everything. Now they'll couch it and go back in history and change things. That's the other thing I want to bring to attention. When you go back to some of the writings, Barbara can verify this. See, the society I didn't believe would lie. Here's an organization that has something called the Truth Book at the time. They're supposed to be all about truth, but yet they have loophole where they can lie. Now, one of the ways that they lie is not the obvious frontal lying. What they'll do is what a lot of people do in history. You go back in history about them, they've taken certain things out of their writings that you have to get the original articles to hold it up to what they're publishing and said they published. It's not there. They omit things. That's another way of lying. So you have, as you said, Barbara, before, the new people that come in, a lot of them don't know. I've spoken to people at the door. They come to my door and I say, well, you used to say X, Y, and Z. And we never said that. We never did that. And I'll go, hold on. And I'll go get because I have it on the ready. I'll show them the article. And they say, you know what? I'm going to go back and ask about that. Well, when they do that, the next time I see them, they cross the street when they see me. Literally cross the street. They're told not to, don't even speak to that man.
Yeah.
Again, when you learn critical thinking, you should welcome that. It's debate, discussion. You're not allowed to discuss. But they're told that everyone's supposed to listen to what they have to say because they have the truth.
Right.
Now, I'm speaking to the people that are listening and their families. Ask your family members that have that mindset, how intelligent is that? You allow people you don't even know to say somehow that they're the channel that God is using? Based on what?
Yes.
How about their own accuracy? That if you had a weather person that was wrong all the time, are you going to listen to that person?
Yeah. Well, different administrations within this organization had put a lot of emphasis on certain points. And so the organization was led by Russell, of course. Rutherford, he was entirely different, and Nor entirely different. And they had their ways of running the organization. So somewhere along the line, that theocratic warfare deal came in, that you could lie if to protect the truth.
The organization. It's all right for us to lie.
Yeah.
If you're protecting us, you can lie.
Right.
But in your own life, we'll disfellowship you if you lie.
Yeah. Well, the Mormons, they have something very similar. This called lying for the Lord. Yes. Very similar. And interesting, we have this.
I think I'm gonna write a song about that. That's a great title, right? Lying for the Lord.
Lying for the Lord. It's
in
very specific,
D minor. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
About this organization, because they do it all the time, and they feel that they can do it. So
Lying for the Lord. I love that.
Well, let me tell you how much we're so close. We didn't know we were to the Mormons, because 3 years ago, they allowed their men to wear beards. They didn't allow them to wear beards. 3 years ago, they said it was okay. That at times way back, the Mormons did. At times way back, Jehovah's Witnesses did. But they changed with as the culture changed. Also, there were other things that were so similar, but what really caught my attention was lying for the Lord.
Oh, that's great. That's golden.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you.
The way that we should write the society, they should come up with their own saying.
Well, a theocratic warfare.
Lying for Jehovah. What would they say? Rick should have a writing, and we should have suggestions for the Watchtower Society. What should they call their lying?
Let me say something. I was floored when during the 25th, during the Australia Royal Commission, one of the top attorneys for the Watchtower said, and it's there, the Royal Commission, everything that is recorded from that hearing is on the internet. And one of the top international, let's see, he specializes in international human rights. That's Shane Brady. He's a attorney for Watchtower in Canada, and he works in Europe on human rights. And he, during that questioning, he said in the Australia Royal Commission, he said, no way does molestation happen in this organization. He said, children are protected. Now, that is, I would say that's not true. I know.
No.
It's not true. Yet he could say that. I'm not going to condemn the man, but he really
I will.
uses go right ahead. But theocratic warfare, that's what they live by. He's not the only one that does that. In Canada, at a hearing, quite a large hearing, they said that they don't shun. And now they're doing the same thing in the organization. Oh, we don't shun. It's not love. So says their spokesperson. So this business on lying, there's examples of it in the Bible, and they use it. They use the examples, and that like it's the right thing to do. I don't think that it was recorded in the Bible to show that it was the right thing to do. I have no idea, though, but I wouldn't think so.
Yeah, but that we're going down. That's the whole red herring thing. I mean, so what? The point is that they would disfellowship somebody for lying, and they do the same thing. In other words, rules for thee, but not for me.
Yeah,
the hypocrisy.
Yes.
And the other thing I want to speak about hypocrisy, I want to clarify something at the same time. Well, Rick, when in the introduction, he said I was a Bethelite. I wasn't a Bethelite.
Yeah. Systems analyst.
Yeah. That's the point. That's where hypocrisy came in. Because I wasn't a Bethelite, I'm on the outside, and I was at that time teaching big clients in the corporate world. This is when your computer literacy. Now, my job as an educator was because I had a specialized skill that was very, very rare. And I'm trained as a systems analyst. There's very few people who train at the same kind of training. Anybody knows anything about systems analysts, you'll know what we're talking about. People aren't taught how to think. To be a systems analyst, they have to teach you the science of how to think. So when it comes to computers are dumb machines, so you have to teach them how to do these interesting tricks. People now call it AI. We call it machine learning. When you take out the mystery of it, it's not really something behind the crystal ball. It's just simple machine learning. How to make a machine arrive at conclusions and access data and things like that. Right. So what happened is, because President Noah made the declaration, there'll be no computers in Bethel because they're too expensive. It says, and over my dead body is the famous or infamous quote. Mm-hmm. Well, he was long gone and computers were coming through. So because of that statement that was set out, that many of the people who were under that understanding, the world was changing, and they knew that when they started with their METS printing systems, the advanced, that it was filtering over and everything else. So they had to teach their people about these computers that Noah said over his dead bodies would be in Bethel. So what did they do? They recruited me from the outside to come in and teach what is called the junior governing body. Matter of fact, I was going through my files. I was trying to find the files of whose papers I used to mark. Who would have to give the teacher the apple? So yes, the people end up running the organization today. That's who they are, because the other ones were dying off. So my job was to teach them about this thing that was supposed to be anathema. Thing that was supposed to be computers were evil. That's the other thing. They looked at computers as evil, by the way, back then. So I and others like me had to teach this new mindset to these people. and change it up. Now you see what computers are today in Bethel. Now they even got jw.org. As one person even said, pretty soon you'll be talking to a bot answering
Yes.
your questions.
Yes. Well,
the way it's going. But
they,
that's the hypocrisy of what happens, because I had the education and the training.
yeah,
Then when I would work at Bethel, in these classroom settings, and it was an elite group only that were allowed to attend
that's
my
right.
classes.
Hmm.
So what I found interesting is lunchtime, right? You remember how lunch is at Barbara when you at Bethel?
Of
So I
course.
get to have lunch with the Bethel family.
Yes.
It's interesting who sits with who, right? Remember, see,
We
the
have
rest of us,
assigned, you have assigned seats. And
yeah, well,
at the
in
governing
high
body
school,
table.
in high school, we all joke. We have the cool kids, we have the nerds, right? We have the jocks over here. We have the pretty girls. So, and they have the little groups. So in Bethel, you would have people like myself brought in. Some were women with advanced degrees,
That's right.
sitting across from someone who maybe didn't even finish high school, looking at each other. What was that about? I was wondering. And what Bethel did, remember, as a management, they let the two cultures just coexist.
Well, their viewpoint was we're brothers and sisters, so that is the most important thing here. So we love each other as brothers and sisters. We don't pay attention to who we are in the world or education.
But
I mean,
that's what,
they say that, but in reality, that's
right.
not true. I wanted to mention, you mentioned MEPS. Well, a while ago, I interviewed Gary Alt, and he was at Bethel at one time. And in his book, I think it's Bethel Days or something like that. So, I can't quite remember. Anyway, he mentions that the technology that Bethelites came up with, people who came into Bethel, like you, who had a pre-experience in technology, they were working solely on things to advance the Watchtower's technology in printing, etc. And he mentioned in his book that the Watchtower sold technology to different corporations.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes.
Patents.
So they utilized the Bethelites or the people who came in to share it for the Lord's work, and then they turned around and made money of it. Now, yet they scold others who are interested in making money, because they say, well, we're making money to use for the Lord's work. So that made it all different.
Oh yeah. Well, their blood and sweat, their intellectual property, as it's called.
Yes.
They utilized and gave it to the organization. But the people will be all right. They said, well, it's for Jehovah, so they don't feel bad like they were abused or stolen. But in reality, that's what happened. I want to revisit something though. Let's go back to the lunchroom, like I said before.
Oh yeah. Right.
You have two groups of people sitting side by side or looking across at each other. What is happening is the ones that didn't get the education or were told not to are looking at these newcomers, and they're young. And some of these women are very classy, dressed well, very corporate. They're in their minds, I could see it. I could see it personally. I could see that the wheels turning, going, how come she's here? She finished, she's got a degree, and I was told not to. See, that's when I saw that. When I went back to my local congregations, I fought like hell for the young people that were in college to be left alone. You'd have Bethelites that will try to take the younger brothers out in service and try to condition them, make them feel guilty if they were getting some sort of education, any kind of education, 2 year, 4 year, I don't care if it's 100 years. It's none of their business. So that was one of the things I went on the front lines with. Matter of fact, we had a circuit overseer that came I think I mentioned the last um, interview we had. I had a computer program that was an assessment test that you take it, it'll print out what you're really good at, what your assets are, and send people, and they will go home with this printout that they can now take and engineer their lives what they would be. Well, the word got out, and I had this piece of, I almost want to curse, crap overseer, CO came visit, never talked to me, went out in service, went interviewing folks. Some of the Bethelites who were jealous of the young men and women who I encouraged to go training, get their education, and be active. By the way, and they're active in field service, by the way. So a hit was put on me. So he interviewed everyone, and so a friend of mine came and said, Jeff, I got news for you. The circuit overseer is asking questions, and they have you listed as the congregation college guidance counselor. Well, that's okay. A fight you want? Bring it. So he gave a talk. You mentioned he gave that talk, that half an hour, that abbreviated the 45-minute talk. I conducted the Watchtower. I came off the Watchtower during the song after he gave that. No, excuse me, I got it backwards. He gave the talk. When he got off the stage, I tapped him and brought him in the back of the coat room and laid him out. And the song had finished. My wife had to act like she was passing me the baton with the watch. I had to run and grab it and go up the stage and everything. And someone said that they can hear me yelling at him through the coat room. So that his thing was, who is this uppity guy in the congregation? No, he never talked to me, never interviewed me, never spoke to me. To the point that the word was that even his wife said, you went overboard in that talk to him. So that's the kind of thing that was happening. So I fought to allow people to be who they are. Yes. So to the point where they kind of called me, I got known as the liberal elder. Mm-hmm. So I loved the Friends. The Friends were great. They were sincere in what they were doing, to the point that when I kind of left, when people see me in field service, or if I would visit congregation, I was wearing a beard before this announcement of that schmuck who you might have all seen. By the way, listen to the way he talks to people. I'm talking to the people who are listening now.
Like children, huh?
Yeah, this is your lead. If he talked to an 8-year-old like that, the 8-year-old will have a problem. Say, who's he talking to like that?
Yeah.
That's the mindset this cult has people in. They treat you like your children. Wake up. Do your research, but not by their research. Do the research outside. What's wrong with that? Maybe they're right. You may find I'm with the Watchtower because of A, B, C, and D. People could respect that, but that's not what people do, is it? What they do, they close their ears. They go, I don't want to hear it. I won't look. What are you afraid of? So hypocrisy, getting back to what we said before, that's why they brought me into Bethel, because the hypocrisy. Here is someone who's got advanced training. They are told not to have the training. Now we have to teach them because they don't have the training. Then later on, it got crazy when we'll get to Barbara. We start talking about the psychology thing and the interview I did with psychologists and whatnot for Bethel. And I understand you did the same thing. You work on it simultaneously. It's interesting how we meet up and compare notes. Matter of fact, I found in my files, my folder and the report that I submitted to society.
Interesting. Well, you have a rich history in the entertainment world and also in the Watchtower world. Sometimes both worlds are wacky. I call them wacky worlds. So Watchtower, wacky world, and the entertainment world also, because they're full of people. And people,
Did you say full of a S, did you say?
no, people.
Barbara said it's full of S?
No,
What
no,
did you
no,
say?
no,
Is
no.
that what you said? I'm sorry. I thought you said
You're,
but that would be right too. That would be right.
You know, we're all so different. I always say it, you know. So you really excelled in your profession, and you were excelling at Bethel too, except for the things you if you had been more no, they were condescending, but if you were more humble, you'd still be there at Bethel teaching them, I'm telling you. But because they want the skills. They say that years ago that wasn't important, but now they want skills, they want attorneys, they want highly educated people, but they don't want to encourage the kids. The kids are the ones that are suffering. They get the message not to do this.
But that's the hypocrisy again.
That's exactly.
They want people. Remember in my notes I wrote to you that it's the land of the mediocre.
Yeah.
Here's the other problem. If you excel, if you stick out,
that's right.
Anything like you mentioned, music, brain power, studying, speaking ability, if you have a way with people and bring more people listen to you, yes. Your brand of talk. With me, it was the youth. The youth, my house was always filled with the youth. Why? Because I encouraged them.
Yes.
We also don't get it twisted. I was strict. I was strict, but yet fun. So we cultivated the youth. We encouraged the youth to grow. So what this organization, people started getting jealous of that. Other so-called leaders, other elders, yeah. Because that's what I realized. I wrote, this is the land of the mediocre.
Not
if you excel,
of them. There were certain ones. Yeah.
What? You catch hell. You know how many people I know used to try to dumb themselves down? Now, my personality, obviously, you can tell I'm frontal. So I know there's another brother. I wonder if he's listening. Randy Wilson. You can't find a more humble. He was a PO, a presiding overseer. This man is like an angel. He was such a good brother. He's out of the organization now. But he came into the organization as an accountant. He came in with his degrees. I used to watch Randy, almost embarrassed that he was educated. I said, Randy, we need people like you. And eventually they started pulling in people who had advanced degrees in accounting because Bethel started using it. Then later on, the lawyers came because they got in so much damn trouble opening up their damn mouth with their articles that they were recruiting lawyers left and right. They kept those attorneys busy. And so people had to realize that to fit in, you have to be mediocre. So I guess it's time to play the next clip coming up, because
I was going to say that because that next clip shows you not mediocre. You are a master at the bass,
bass guitar. But I want to say something here. Yeah, before you even go there, my nephew watched the stream last night, and he sent me a snapshot of the chat. I guess Rick has the chat going, right?
Yeah, the chat is definitely going. What clip is that one? Is that the Applied Magic? What one is that?
No. This is the second one, Rick. This is the
Master Bass Solo.
Master Bass Solo. But we'll get to that in a minute, Rick. Cue that up. So but someone in the chat said this comment, and whoever you are, I'm speaking to you. Said, well, it's too bad he didn't really make it. So, but at least he didn't blame it on the Watchtower.
Oh.
Now, reason why I'm going to speak to that is because that's not the case. The case is some of us walked away from us. The case is that we were supposed to succeed in that, but we backed out of it. Now others didn't do that, and they ended up in living lives that, you know, they try to get out of, and once you get in, you can't get out of. So it's harder. So some of them had to go, let's say, undercover. Shall we say they had to remove themselves. So learning that, there's a difference of that. And by the way, and the other thing I like to say, I did a lot of things after. I'm not done yet. I'm dealing with some people that we have some irons in the fire that you'll hear about that's coming out. This is going to be quite huge. So there's a different way of doing it, and doing it where you own yourself, when no one owns you. I did that with the Watchtower, and I also did it with the music industry. So now, Barb, maybe you can introduce the next clip and show that. So people will say, he was supposed to replace Larry Graham with Sly at one point. Well, it wasn't directly after Larry. Rusty became the bass player. But that same gentleman, Sam McKeith, was a William Morris agent, was negotiating with Sly's manager, Ken Roberts, in his office about me going out to play with Sly. And I refused at the end. So in order to do that, you have to really be of a certain caliber. So the clips that we heard last time with me singing My Way, you said you have a conservative audience. So I gave you those clips to show you what my Vegas kind of show, where I'm very conservative and whatnot. Now, when you see this clip, you'll see that there was a difference. This is the level I was on. And remember, the guitarist next to me is also Jimmy Sharp. He was also an elder. Rick, you didn't start it from the beginning.
Before we get, how about a big hand for Blacksmith, man? Right, nice bass, Al.
The man who not only envisioned but wrote and created what you're hearing up here tonight. Oh, Blacksmith, it's Al Smith on the bass.
Well, looks like you're an expert. Sounds like you.
Now,
Wow.
they want to know. We're getting comments in there. They want to know if this is the MTV channel.
No, that wasn't MTV.
No, I know what you're saying. They're just kidding around, that's all. But they're enjoying your music. I'm reading some of the comments in there. They really like your talent, Al. I'm reading some of the. Can you guys see the YouTube comments?
No, we can't.
Mm-mm.
Huh. That's interesting.
The chat box is not up with us. No.
Oh,
By the way,
comments.
by the way, the way I hear it, because of it's digital, it's broken up. So I don't know if does the audience hear it like that, because it's not really the stream. The music stream is not really fluent.
Well, sometimes when you play music, it's not too bad. Let me ask the people on YouTube: was the music halfway good to hear? I mean, it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be like stereophonic music from Dolby, but yeah, the music was good. Yeah, they could hear it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, good.
Hey, one of the comments I saw is so good. It was what you were talking about. He says, when I was in high school, I thought Armageddon was only a minute away. He said, I could read and write, so they said that was enough. Yeah, that's exactly right.
And then again, on the educational level, I had arguments or discussion with people. Remember, they weren't allowed to. So they had this whole dichotomy. They weren't allowed to pursue higher education. So here are other people. So that that wasn't fair to them. I actually understood why they would be sore about that kind of thing. But my biggest pet peeve is when they start to stifle the youth. I wasn't having that. Not on my watch.
What I want to do is I know that people are really interested in your music, and you've told us a lot about this. I wanted to show the audience something you and I have in common, and we didn't know that. After all of the years we've known each other, you had no idea that I was instrumental in doing something that you enjoyed and you used to teach. And it wasn't second graders either. So tell them about what you used to teach that you were so...
okay. So the relationship I was in at the time, the young man, he was coming through the school, and so I was always into computers. And so as a child, I would pioneer the DVD learning discs. And the company, what was the company, Barb?
Knowledge Adventure.
Yeah, I bought everything they had, and to the point sometimes he was 2 grades ahead of his classmates because of that. And one of the ones that I remember distinctly that was great was called Bug Adventure. Then talking to you, you take it from there. What did you have to do with Bug Adventure again?
I wrote it. Yeah. In fact, I'll show everybody. This is the Bug Adventure was done for the company called Knowledge Adventure. They put out CD-ROM multimedia programs.
Way ahead of the curve. They're the best ahead of it. Now everything's online, but then you got the DVDs.
I did it in 1994. It's for ages 3 to 8. See, and I could write for that age. And this is Bug Adventure. This is not this never been opened. I kept this one. So in this box is even plastic bugs that the kids can play with. It's very interesting. It's an interactive journey into creepy crawly world of insects. The Knowledge Adventure put out in those years fabulous material. They put out one on dinosaurs, and kids could use the computer and learn about it. They had a theater in there. We wrote for a theater. Kids Zoo. There was Peter Rabbit, and then everybody has that. In here, it advertises Bug Adventure. Space Adventure was really important.
Oh, yeah.
And I met the astronaut who wrote it. So see, I was in the same league. Well, not quite. With an astronaut, because he wrote Bug Adventure. I cannot remember, because so long ago, 1994, which one it was. And there's a signature in the picture. Actually, there's a signature, but I have to look close enough and see. Buzz Aldrin. And anyway, the thing about this that's so fascinating is this.
By the way, Brother Holden, he's a trip, but go ahead.
Okay. Well, thanks. So when I was leaving Bethel, I was working. Of course, most people who know me know I was working on the Proclaimer's book. There was a fella outside of Bethel.
Whoa, Barbara, tell them what the Proclaimer's book is.
Oh, that's a history of the Watchtower of Jehovah's Witnesses, and goes pre Jehovah's Witnesses. The name, they were Bible students. 1879 was the first Watchtower magazine was produced. 1884, the Watchtower, Zion's Watchtower Corporation started. 1881, it was an association, a Watchtower Association. So this is when they were moving along into the corporate world. And and
what did they leave out? Some of the files you found later on, right? When you going through the bundles, they left so much out of that book. See, when people like me read the Proclaimer's book, we thought we knew the history of the Watchtower.
Yeah.
Come to find out, I meet you years later, it's like, oh no, these people omitted all kinds of S.
Well, the man who compiled it was Carl Adams, of the famous Adams president. Don Adams was president of the Watchtower of Pennsylvania when I was at Bethel. And anyway, this fellow outside of headquarters, he had a wife and children, and he was a vice president of Knowledge Adventure, which was in California, but he didn't live there. He lived in, I think, Virginia or somewhere. And so he used to get things for me in my research. People who on the outside could be outside researchers for the department I was working in, the research area of the writing department. So I got to know him, and he brought in wonderful material, some even from Oxford in England, and then would return it. He was very intelligent man, and also had apparently he was well off financially. So we got to know each other, and Joe and I went to his home and met his wife, and they were from long-time Jehovah's Witnesses, parents and grandparents and so forth. So when he heard I was leaving the headquarters and going back to Tennessee, he told me about the Knowledge Adventure Company, and he said, "Would you like to write one of the adventures?" Well, I never heard of it because it was for children. So he introduced it to me, and they made the arrangements with the company. So I wrote Bug Adventure, and Bug Adventure was they talked about it in different, with the reviews in Compute magazine in 1994. Also in CD-ROM Today, they talked about Bug Adventure. Children's Software Review, Washington Post, and the best of all was a whole article in Newsweek on Bug Adventure. Now, why did I bring this up? I don't talk about this. Very few people know that I ever did it, and it's okay. I bring it up because this man was an elder, and he was a longtime Jehovah's Witness, and he didn't appreciate the lack of the organization pushing education, because he was really for education. And so when I finished writing Bug Adventure, this is a creepy crawly, as it says. It's a creepy crawly. Take an interactive journey into the creepy crawly, flitting, flying, fantastic world of bugs. Watch close-up candid movies of bugs doing their amazing bug things. Play guessing games with gee whiz facts and eyeball benders. or grab your special glasses to examine bugs in the awesome. Well, I don't even like bugs, but I thought this would really be interesting, and I learned an awful lot about bugs that they quoted in, especially in the Newsweek magazine, they thought were funny. I really enjoyed this. So I had to pick out the graphics. So I went to California. They flew me out there, and I spent a week picking out graphics, getting to know the people with the company. When Friday rolled around, I was leaving to come back to Tennessee on Saturday. So it was Thursday, late in the day, that the president of the company came to see me, and he said that he wanted me to come to the staff meeting on Friday evening, and I said that I wasn't able to be there since I was leaving the next morning, and I had other arrangements that evening with some Jehovah's Witnesses that lived in the area who I was staying with. Anyway, when I got back from California, I got a phone call from the vice president, and he was very aggravated at me for not going to that staff meeting. He said they wanted to hire you. I was really stunned. And he said they liked your work, you fit in, and he said they really were disappointed that you didn't come to me. And he said, I'm disappointed in you. He said, this is a perfect place for you. The thing about this was, because of my education, it being a Jehovah's Witness for as long as I was and so dedicated, what I wanted to do was go back into the Jehovah's Witness missionary work. I didn't. This was not for me. I did it because when we left headquarters, we had to get back into making an income. And my husband was an elder, and he was at the time in the special missionary work. And I'm calling it that because we have people who are watching this that don't understand the names that we call different fields in the organization. And so I wanted to join him in that. And if they wanted me to move to California, of course, the family moved, and I couldn't see it. But that's because of the indoctrination that it was wrong to be part of the world and to make money. You see?
That's the point. And don't forget, the new system's coming tomorrow anyway, right around the corner. Why would you spend your time doing that?
Absolutely. And yet an elder was aggravated at me because I didn't think it. But see, there's two ways to think in this organization, and you're always pulled back and forth, and you really don't know which way to go, or you think you do, and you might land up making the wrong decision, which I made the wrong decision, absolutely, and I don't regret it now. That's a long time ago. This is 1994 that this came out. I made quite a bit of money on Bug Adventure. It was a real good seller, and but we needed it. We still had our home when we went to headquarters in Brooklyn. And my mother and dad were living in our home, so we were fortunate we had our home, because so many people they sell their home when they go to headquarters, and so but we had to have an income coming in, and Joe started his own small plumbing business, and started to grow with that because we had to live, So, but on the other hand, I would have been in a whole nother world. Did I make a mistake? Well, it would have been quite an adventure to do that. I'm not saying that it would have been perfect. Who knows what would have happened? But I'm saying we are so pulled by this organization's way of thinking. And yet, on the other hand, there are men in it, like the one who talked to me, who was vice president, even at headquarters, that would have encouraged me, because secretly they are at odds themselves with these ideas, but they don't let anyone know, because the literature has to go by a certain standard, and they have a standard book even for in the writing department on what not to say. So they're trying to rule the minds of the readers, but many of the people don't believe themselves who are at the top. And don't we see that in all religions?
But that's the interesting thing. Again, when I found the society lies, when they didn't think they didn't lie, some of these people are writing this stuff for other people and to being influenced by it, and they don't believe this themselves.
Yeah.
See, that pisses me off.
Mm-hmm.
So they're leading these, and a lot of these people are locked in because they have no place to go. Now, the other thing you mentioned, when you left Bethel, fortunately, you had a home to go to. Your folks were there. The other issue is, I was telling people before I left, is that where are these older people, these circus overseers and for people like that, where are they going to retire to? What happens to them?
Hey, Al, I got to cut in here. We're running really short on time here. We're really running close. I got a lot of programs we got to put up tonight. So if you want some telephone calls, we're going to have to end it here.
Can you play his last one? It's only 2 minutes.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, Barbara, we're really tight. We're really, really tight. I tell you guys what time you got to come on, and we have other programs. We have four more programs tonight. I'll give another 5 minutes. I'll say another 10 minutes. But we do have to cut it short. I got guests coming on, and I don't want to keep them waiting either.
Absolutely, we wouldn't want to do that. Do you want to play his last one, and then we'll just continue it? Or it's only 2 minutes. So.
You want to play the clip, or you want to take some calls?
Al, do you want to play that last clip?
So we play the clip and then take calls going out, and you can end it that way, right?
Yeah.
All right, we'll play the clip. We'll go another 10 minutes. So I'll give you guys a little more time. And you guys, holding on, just like you're not making an announcement here.
This is 2 minutes.
Hold on 1 second. For those that are coming on the program that have been booked in, just hold on. We're running a little late here, so just hold on. Don't disappear. We're going to end this program in about 10 minutes. So those waiting to come on the program for JW World News and the Christmas party, please just hang in here. We're running a little overtime tonight. Okay, let's play the clip. So that clip will be, let me see if we got it here. Just 1 second. So that's the appliedmagic.com.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the one?
Al?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to that then. Let me just get over here to the StreamYard stream here and do it. Okay, just give us a second. Share screen. Blacksmith last dates. So that would be the let people.
Let my people go. Right.
Okay, let people go. It's just not numbered here, so I'm not sure which ones are which. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Let's start from the beginning.
What we're gonna do? We're gonna mix it up with attitude. Let our people dance and sing. Not holding back on anything. Forget about your preference type. Albeit red, yellow, black or white. No press release or critic hype is gonna stop our people from seeing the light. Yeah, I tell you, let our people go. We're gonna stop until they rock now. Let our people go. We're gonna stop until they rock now. Hey, DJ, let my music play. 'Cause in my music, I got a lot to say. Now where did all the riders go?
Okay, so that was it. So let's stop that one right there. We have got people calling in the lines. If you want to say hello to Al or Barbara, go ahead right now. Go ahead and say hello to Al and Barbara. Go ahead and hit *6. Go ahead. Let's see what we got here for active speakers. You'd like to say hello to them, hit *6. What do you think of Al's music? Do you think he's a good music player? I believe he is. I'll tell you what he's done. He's played some big stuff. So go ahead, listen in. You're on with us. Go ahead. What do you think? 804, you're on with us. Go ahead. Speak up. You're all set. 804, you're on. Go ahead.
Hey, Al.
You want Al?
Al,
Yeah.
how you doing?
Who's this?
This is Neil Brooks.
Hey, Neil. Neil is the gentleman. He played keyboards for me and whatnot. His mother was a witness,
Oh,
and
yes.
he grew up in the whole Motown era. Yeah, he's doing stuff. An incredible player.
Yeah.
If you want to say hello, you want to say hello to Al, you want to say hello to Barbara, say hello to Al. He's the one that's doing all this music tonight. Go ahead.
We've known each other for over 50 years.
Sir, if you can shut your YouTube off, it's kind of reverberating.
Yeah. Neil, shut off. Yeah, it's feeding back into the mic.
All right. You have anything else to say, 804? Well, Al's glad you called in tonight. Go ahead. You want to say hello to Al? Go ahead and speak up. What do you think of his music? I mean, it's pretty lively, right?
Yeah, can you hear me, Al?
Yes, I can. Hello, I hear you. Caller, I hear you.
Yes. You know, we've known each other for over 50 years.
I guess so. That's who's counting.
When are you coming back to Richmond?
You know what? I don't know. I'll have to go to Florida. We're doing a string of concerts that's gonna be live in Florida. I don't know, Neil. I'll certainly let you know. I'd like to go back there. Maybe we can do some recording. There's a delay.
Okay, next call.
Sounds good. Just let me know.
All right.
All right, you want to say hello to Al Smith. He is ex-Jehovah's Witness. He was a musician. He's a good musician. I mean, you heard his music tonight. He does really well. He played with some big bands. Go ahead, say hello to Al. Chime in here. Say hello to Al tonight. Don't be bashful. Got a lot of people on here, Al. We just can't wake them up. Boy, we've got a number. You want to say hello to Al? Go ahead. He's on with us. Well, I guess not, Al. My goodness, no. We're not getting a good response tonight for some reason. We do have a lot of people listening in. Maybe sometimes someone want to just speak up and make sure the lines are open here. Okay. Well, Al, I want to thank you very much for coming on.
Well, thanks for having me, Rick and Barb. Thanks. Good.
Yeah. Well, you got a lot of folk waiting on the other programs, and we had our evening that we enjoyed very much. Rick, thank you very much for inviting us and letting us air our grievances and our happinesses.
Well, very good, Barbara. You had a lot of people listening in. There was a lot of people on YouTube, a lot of good comments. What I'll do, Al, is I'll go through the really good comments. I'll pick them out. I'll email them to you, okay?
Great. Or the really bad ones. I like to see those too.
Yeah, I gave the bad ones too, but mostly they were good. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, I'm reading them right now, and they all good. Mm-hmm.
Oh, we got someone else who wants to talk to you. Go ahead, you run with us. Go ahead.
Yeah. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, even though you're a former witness.
Okay. That you're speaking to both of us.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet, sir.
Thank you. All right, well, let's move to Michigan. One more call. Go ahead, Michigan. You're on, Michigan. Go ahead. All right. I guess not. All right. It was on, but then he left. All right. Well, Al and Barbara, we'll see you. We'll see Barbara in 2 weeks. And Al, you do your thing tonight and stay safe. And we're glad you could come on the Six Screens Network. Thank you very much, Al.
Thank you for having me, Britt.
Thank
All
you.
right.
And
Well-
Bob, thank you for everything.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, everyone. Okay, we're going to end it there. We're going to go to JW World News. That's the news the Watchtower doesn't want us talking about, but we talk about it every Saturday night. So hang in here with us. We're going to end this stream right here, and we're going to go over to JW World News, and we also have the Christmas party tonight. So that's coming up about 8 o'clock. Well, that'd be about 8:30 or so. We'll have our annual Christmas party. We get some games. We get some songs. We get some live singers. I know you're going to enjoy it, so stay with us for a rockin' awesome evening, and Merry Christmas to all those that are listening in here tonight.